You probably already heard whispers, in the papers or on the grapevine, that things are changing with the UK bus pass system come October 2025. But what will really happen? Who among us will keep the freedom to ride at no cost, and who will be forced back to paying fares they hope to leave behind? In this explanation, you'll see clearly who gains, who loses, and what steps you must take if your pass is at risk. If you value clarity, stay with me. From the 10th of October 2025, the eligibility rules for free bus travel in England will be altered in a dramatic way. Under the existing system, many people aged 60 and over could qualify for free local bus travel outside London under concessionary schemes that will no longer be the case for new applications. The free pass age will now be tied strictly to the state pension age, which currently stands at 66 and is projected to increase to 67 in coming years. This means that a person turning 60 after October will no longer automatically gain the bus pass until they reach state pension age. In effect, the early entitlement window between age 60 and reaching pension age is being closed. That is the core shift. You might well wonder, does this change apply to everyone across the UK? The answer is more subtle. In England, outside London, the new rule is being implemented for new applicants. But Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland maintain their own arrangements and have chosen to keep free travel entitlement at age 60 in many cases. So, someone aged 62 in Wales may still ride free, while their counterpart in England would not. In London, the famous Freedom Pass, or 60+ Oyster, etc. EU, is run under a different funding arrangement, so those existing schemes remain unaffected for current pass holders. If you live in London and already hold your Freedom Pass, you will not be stripped of it by the national changes. But new applicants might face delays or restrictions once the national rules tighten. If you already have a valid bus pass when October arrives, you will not lose it immediately. But renewal is where the danger lies. When your current pass expires, you will need to reconfirm your eligibility under the new criteria. If you no longer meet the age threshold, your renewal could be refused unless you qualify on other grounds, for example, by disability provisions. So this is a grandfathering approach. Existing passes survive for now, but the pathway for new recipients is altered. This brings us to disabilities and medical conditions, which remain a crucial exception. If you have a qualifying long-term disability, blindness or partial sight, severe mobility impairment, inability to drive because of a physical or neurological condition, learning disabilities, or other categories defined in the relevant schemes, you will still be eligible for free or concessionary travel, subject to stricter verification. The change is not intended to remove disability entitlements, but councils will demand more recent medical evidence, usually within the past 12 months, to confirm that your condition still qualifies. So someone whose diagnosis is old or whose condition has changed might need to submit fresh documentation. In short, under the new rules, age alone will no longer be sufficient for new applicants only reaching state pension age or satisfying a disability or medical criterion will do. That shift means many people in their early 60s will lose automatic entitlement. Now, you may protest. This sounds unfair to people who retired early, those who scaled back work in their early 60s, or anyone on a fixed income who counted on accessing free transport. You are not wrong. For many, a bus pass is not a luxury. It is a lifeline to doctor's appointments, to shopping, to seeing grandchildren, to friends and community life. Let me give you a real example. Imagine Margaret, age 62, who has always used her free bus pass to travel into town, visit the library, and attend exercise classes. Under the old rules, she would continue to enjoy free travel. Under the new rules, when her pass comes up for renewal after October, she will be told she no longer qualifies unless she can prove she has a qualifying disability that would force her instead to pay full fare or seek a regional concession if available. So your local authority's decision will matter more than ever. Some people aged 60 to 65 may still obtain support, but only if their council funds it. In Newcastle, for instance, a pass holder said their local authority now accepts only a statement from social services confirming the disability, not a previously accepted medical certificate. That has caused delays and uncertainty. You might ask, will bus fares themselves go up? Yes, in England, a new £3 cap on single bus fares outside London has been announced, replacing the older £2 cap. That cap is intended to limit maximum fare costs, but still means an increase for many journeys. This will coincide with the eligibility changes, making the cost to non-pass holders more painful. Local councils and combined authorities may choose to subsidize further or maintain lower fares. The cap is scheduled to operate from January 2025 to December 2025. So, if you lose your free pass, you may end up paying single fares of up to £3 per journey. Over time, that increase hits harder for people making regular short journeys. The daily cost of travel can mount fast. The presence of a fare cap doesn't soften the blow for someone used to paying zero. Some will wonder, is there any grace period? Will someone who applies before October 2025 be grandfathered under the old rules, even if they do not renew until after that? The government and councils are indicating that those who apply or renew before the cutoff may secure protection for the duration of the current pass, but once that expires, the new rules will apply. So many will try to renew or apply before September 2025 to lock in eligibility for as long as possible. But it's unpredictable how long each council's renewal cycle runs, and you cannot always force an early renewal. Another question, what about peak hours travel? Some reports suggest that new rules may restrict free travel to off-peak hours, for example from 9:30 a.m. onwards on weekdays, with early morning rush hour trips becoming chargeable. Whether that restriction will be enforced everywhere remains to be confirmed, but if it is, people who rely on early buses to attend medical appointments or volunteer shifts could suffer further. Weekend and evening travel may remain free, but weekdays before 9:30 a.m. might incur a fare. That confines flexibility. What should you do now? First, check the status of your current bus pass and the date it expires. If you are in your early 60s, consider renewing early or applying before October to lock in your entitlement under the existing rules. Keep copies of your identity documents, proof of address, utility bills, council tax statements, driving license, and medical records if you have a long-term condition. Start downloading council or transport authority apps and registering ahead of time so you are ready when the system goes digital. If your council offers local early concession options, reach out and ask whether they plan to maintain them. Lobby your local councillors. Public pressure may persuade some local authorities to retain early support. And once the new rules are in force, always complete renewal promptly, even if you think you might lose eligibility, to avoid gaps or rejections through missed deadlines. You might wonder, will this reduce bus usage and harm routes in rural areas? Many transport analysts and advocacy groups fear exactly that. If older passengers no longer ride freely, fewer journeys will be made, revenue will decline, and councils may consider cutting underused routes. That could worsen isolation for older people in remote areas, making travel harder when alternatives are scarce. So these changes may cascade into weaker bus networks, not just lost concessions. One more twist, some councils may retain postcode exceptions. That is, decisions to preserve earlier concessions in areas with low incomes or poor transport choices. So in some districts, you may still find full or partial free travel for people aged 60 to 65, even though the national scheme no longer mandates it. But that means inequality by postcode will intensify. Two people in the same age group might have very different travel rights depending on where they live. That inconsistency is part of the cost-cutting strategy. For people already aged 70 or 80, the changes are less direct. You'll likely keep your pass, and when you renew, your eligibility remains intact so long as you satisfy identification and residency checks. But the greater burden falls on those in that vulnerable window between 60 and pension age, a whole cohort previously accustomed to concessionary travel. So, to summarize, from October 2025, the eligibility age for free bus passes in England, outside London, moves to state pension age. Existing pass holders are safe for now, but on renewal must meet the new standard. People with qualifying disabilities will retain entitlements, but under stricter verification. Some councils may still offer local concessions, but that will vary. Fare caps will rise, digital systems and document checks will increase, and early morning travel may no longer be free. The changes will affect not just individual travelers, but transport patterns, social cohesion, and rural connectivity. If you're watching this and are 61, 62, 63, even up to 65, this may hit you hardest. You may find your door to free transport closing just as you hope to rely on it. Don't wait for November or December. Act now. Check your renewal date, gather documents, and pressure your local council to keep concessionary options. Stay informed, because this is not merely a bureaucratic reform. It will reshape mobility for millions of older people across England. If you found this breakdown helpful, do support more coverage of these changes, share this video, subscribe to the channel, and remain alert to your council's announcements. The mobility of your future may depend on how well prepared you are today.